I think what went wrong in the game against TNC was basically the rotations. This is what's lacking about the Infuse. Whenever we're falling behind, or whenever even if we go ahead, they tend to don't know what to do in terms of rotation. So basically, we're out rotated by TNC, which is well played by them. And we also underestimated the Jana pick, and they actually clearly don't know how to execute it well, and they also lack the discipline in terms of vision control. Like they don't know when to ward and know when to not ward. So moving on into our future games in the PGS, I think we need to improve more on our macros. So like I said, with the rotation, and have a more firm and clear win conditions with the team comps that we'll always draft, and hopefully we'll be able to do well in our future games.
I guess it's not just really the rotations now for this case. I think it's also in the execution. Tsaka rin, pagdating din sa pacing ng Infuse Esports. Here we go mga Summoners. Isang malaking Sabado para sa inyo as we welcome you on the second day of the second week of the Pro Gaming Series 2017. Summer Split powered by Bacchus Energy Drink. Kami po yung magiging shoutcasters for this game. I am Shinbu with the one for Ana, and my partner, of course, it's Arctic. Ladies and gentlemen, at your service.
Definitely. There you go. You got it. You got it. And yeah, Mayo, I'm very, very excited to, of course, be casting with Shinbu once again. And you came at a great time, by the way, because sobrang intense ng PGS thus far. Like,
yeah.
Again, yung mga predictions, completely out the window. Kasi yung mga teams na hindi mo mag-expect na mag-perform biglang boom. Like, you have the rise of TME right now, and then it's just so crazy right now. So, interesting time to come in, by the way.
Yes, of course. Syempre, nasa hashtag nga natin yan. It's Worlds at Stake, ladies and gentlemen. Pero bago tayo pumasok sa usapang hashtag, syempre, continuation dito sa ating schedule. Ayan nga po pala. Ayan, yung hashtag natin, Share and Win promo. Ayan na po, ladies and gentlemen, as we are set with amazing mystery gifts para sa inyo, sa mga viewers natin. For this game, kanina may 5 mystery gift na yan na ibigay. For this game, we have another mystery 5. Okay, 5 pieces of mystery gift to be given away to our lucky viewers. All you need to do is to just share the live stream na nagaganap ngayon dito sa Facebook. Syempre, you have to like, okay? Kasi nandun din yung live stream ng Facebook. The Pro Gaming Series, the Garena Pro Gaming Series. Yan, Facebook page. And again, going back dito sa ating schedule, we are now set on the second game on this 2-game series to be played between Acclaim Empire X versus Infuse Esports, where Game 1 was taken in convincingly with a flashing twitch.
Yes, man. Oh, man, oh, man.
Acclaim Empire X. I'd give it. Actually, ang basa ko dun sa game na yun is that there has to be some improvements really in terms of execution ng Infuse Esports. More so, yung late game talaga, as Amplifier has mentioned, the late game falls heavily on Acclaim Empire X. Kung meron man nag-i-scale dito para sa Infuse Esports, that was on KT. Pero the Galio will definitely melt in the hands of Gen V Switch. And of course, the damage na pwedeng maibigay mismo rin ng Oriana nila plus Tamsus Aggression. Ano? Partida pa nga yun eh. Kasi kanina si Canon, alam mo yun, umabot yata ng 30 minutes, wala pang kill, wala pang assist, wala pang deaths, di ba?
Grabe talaga.
Maka-history record sana siya dun eh. Ayan. So, for this second game, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I mean, ang interesting kasi dito is it's really up to Infuse Esports. They really need to adjust their game plan. Yeah. Dito talaga nasusukat yung kung kaya ba nilang mag-adapt sa kailangan nilang gawin para makontra yung AEX. Kasi gaya nga na mention ko yesterday, you can't be a one-trick pony using the same strategies, the same playstyles over and over again. Like I mentioned, there's this heavy trend where an XDXP likes to go for these power farms early on. Doesn't like to show as much finesse, much presence during the early phases of the game. Kaya nagkakaroon ng awkward situations na when they want to try to make things happen heavily in the mid and late game, dun sila nasa-start mahirapan eh kasi the enemy team that they're usually up against, they're able to maintain an equal grounding with them. So, again, adjustment is definitely key. Versatility talaga.
Not to mention in the early weeks ng Pro Gaming Series, pag-usapang score points tayo sa standings, you know, getting all those early scores, usapang momentum to eh. Diba? Ito yung pagbuo ng mindset nyo at makikita nyo na yan, yung 5 games kayo ng Infuse Esports, they gathered up 3 points, whereas Acclaim Empire X steadily rin nakakahabol din sa standings natin. Mamaya meron pa tayo dyan update. We got TME versus, di ba? Versus Mineski. Isa sa mga inaabangan dito kung meron bang makakapigil sa winning streak ngayon ng TME. But continuing nga dito sa ating laban, Infuse Esports versus Acclaim Empire X. As you mentioned, yes, the one-trick pony, I think meron din silang difficulties. So we have to give it to them that the newest addition to Infuse Esports,
yes,
diba?
there you go.
Carl Kilated is playing, of course, separated from the team. So, alam naman natin, may voice comms naman silang ginagamit. Pero, syempre, reading lang basis ko lang mula dun sa game 1 is that yung fluidity talaga ng execution nila. Remember that, dive in the bot lane?
Yeah.
Diba?
A lot of attempts, pero didn't really result to anything
very
super
clean.
big. Yeah.
Yes, as in, supposedly, kung ganun yung isusugal nyo sa isang gank, diba? Or sa isang dive, dapat talagang fluid yon. Malinis yung pagka-execute. Ayan. So, sa mga viewers natin, we're gonna be loading up sa ating drafting base. Interestingly, you have to take note na naglalaro na tayo ngayon kung saan live na rin po yung feature na yan. 10-ban system. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, last split pa lang naka 10-ban system na tayo. Ayan.
So, actually, learning experience siya in a way na nakita nyo yung pros kung paano sila mag-draft sa 10-ban. So, kayo naman, it's your chance to rank kung ano yung mga natutunan nyo by watching the streams not only locally pero even sa international scene. Ayun, medyo nabigyan na kayo ng preview idea on how you should go about it. So, it's up to you guys.
Kasi sa community ngayon, basta binaan mo si Yas, sulit mo na daw yung 10-ban system. Pero, ayun guys, kasi ibang-iba po talaga yung banning system natin ngayon. 10 is not equal to 6. Very, very different. It's a certain dynamic. Kailangan marunong ka magbasa kung anong roles na yung nasa kabilang team, ha?
There you go.
Yan, isa yan. Kasi like yung second set of banning, mamaya, binan mo, na-pick na pala. Kunyari, na-pick na yung mid lane sa kabila, nagbaban ka pa rin ng mid lane. Huwag nyo sayangin. Isa yan sa mga basic things to consider when you are playing and when you are taking an active role on this expanded banning system, the 10-ban system, ladies and gents.
Yes, indeed. And of course, yung gaya nga ng sinabi ni Shinbo, you really have to, talagang kailangan tutok ka sa kung anong bans ang nangyayari kasi actually that's a funny thing that you brought up kasi may mga nakita akong post minsan na may mga nakaka-rank sila, may AD carry na yung kalaban kasi alam nilang, lalo sa mga may mga ibang custom games, alam nilang may kilala silang AD carry, may napili ng AD carry, second rotation, nagbaban out pa rin ng AD carries.
Kasi
so like,
doon tayo nasanay. Alam natin na mula doon, hindi pa ginaganap yung 10-ban system. Diba? Meron na tayong parang autoban. May autoban na tayo eh. Ang problema kasi ngayon, kailangan mong tingnan kung ano yung napick nung kabila. And you have to be intuitive on your next ban. So more so, you don't want to waste that. Kasi sa totoo lang, ladies and gents, sa mga summoners natin, lalo na sa competitive play, even though kahit solo queue pa yan, mabigat ang effect ng isang ban, you know? It could make or break the game. Ang laking bagay ng drafting phase, more so yung banning phase natin dito. We are set, ladies and gents. Game 2, Infuse Esports versus Acclaim Empire X. 1-0 in favor of AEX for the bans here. Your thoughts in Archie?
Yes, no surprise. Lucian actually ibaban out agad ng Infuse Esports from Acclaim Empire X. So we actually have seen Awaken medyo proficient. He actually did go for that Lucian mid.
Yes.
Quite the efficiency. Really paid off for AEX in a way. But
I've seen that din sa international
even in the international scene.
May Lucian mid din. Yeah.
So Acclaim Empire X, actually, they're really thinking this first ban very, very carefully kasi it's definitely uninfused right now because they are on the blue side. Silang may advantage ngayon sa pwedeng first pick na gustuin sana ng AEX. So, ang daming mga risks talaga kapag nasa red side ka in a way. You really want to make sure that di mo ma-allow yung, kailangan mong isipin yung anong champions ang pwedeng kunin ng blue side na ayaw yung makuha nila agad.
Yes.
Nandun rin yung sacrifice na ano yung gusto nyong isacrifice yung champion na pwedeng mapunta sa blue side na pwede lang i-first pick agad.
And the prayers and thoughts of Infuse Esports dito is talagang focus dun sa mid lane. I was thinking of, baka gusto nyo i-ban out si Gen V, you know? It always works against AEX. Pero hindi. Sige, gonna be going for Oriana as they continue to focus for the mid lane. Ezreal naman, tsaka Saya, focus naman ng AEX dito sa ADC. What might be the reasons here, Arctic?
Wow, I mean, gaya nga ng sinasabi ko kay Amplifier kanina, if you're gonna look at the Infuse Esports roster, in fairness, Liar and Sachi kind of stepped up their game during the first game, pero what's been a constant is that one of the, like, you have to look at it like a chain in a way. Parating merong certain weak spot doon. And if you're gonna look at Infuse Esports, one of the weak points that they have is that their bot lane has been very susceptible talaga to like ganks and very, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And plus the fact that if you're gonna ban out a total of 3 AD carry champions from Liar right off the bat, it's also choking Liar into forcing him into pushing him into using again certain AD carries na it limits what choices that he has. So banning out 3 right away, it's interesting to see. Dito talaga napupush kung anong champion meron si Liar.
Yes, and there's a very interesting shift din sa pasok ng dalawang teams na to. Early bans kanina on the sack. Pero ngayon talagang lusot lang siya. It's like AEX is already giving it away because, you know, the first pick is in Infuse hands, no?
Yeah.
Talagang wala silang buzz dito. Siguro ganun katiwala din yung AEX, or maybe they're hoping na Infuse Esports wouldn't be prioritizing any jungle pick, more so na mailusot yung Zac dito. But no, gonna be Zac in on the blue side, Infuse Esports, and of course still continuing Tamsu, that Kha'Zix, ang taas pa rin ng presence mula dun sa game 1 natin.
And you know what's very interesting is that Acclaim INF kasi we know how smart they are when it comes to strategizing. So the fact that they gave this Zac to Infuse Esports, which is in fact one of the heavily banned champions in a way, not only so competitive but even in solo duo queue rank. That being said, AEX, there's clearly something AEX is brewing up here by allowing that Zac to go through, especially with Infuse being first pick. So they definitely concocted something to somewhat counter what advantages Zac has now that he's at his prime right now dito sa patch na to.
Yeah, I was considering of Caitlyn pick kay Gen V dito, but of course I'm dropping that possibility. Hindi lang dahil kinuha siya ng Infuse, dahil Tristana and Twitch lang talaga yung naalala ko kay Gen V. So I'm just not sure what's up with the pick of kung ano yung study ng isang Tristana against the Zac pick, kasi we do know na ang isang counter para sa isang Zac would be zone control tsaka kiting. Yan, if you can kite him. I was considering of a Caitlyn, but no, nonetheless, gonna be the Caitlyn now for the hands of Infuse Esports. Gragas as well. Lots of control on the terrain dito mismo ng Infuse Esports on those skirmishes. Rather, papasahan to ni Vanguard. Gonna be picking up that trash as well, you know?
Wow, very interesting. Actually, if you're gonna look at the ban for Acclaim Empire X, they actually ban out the Fiora.
No? And Fizz. Okay, innate counters might be para sa Fiora and Fizz. Although Zac and Gragas can pick up already, so
there might be some, baka may knowledge sila sa Infuse na there might be that unorthodox happening wherein they maybe send Zac support, because
there has been support.
There have been, kasi may mga weird circumstances wherein I've heard of Zac being used in certain scrims ng ibang teams. So maybe this could potentially be intel na alam ng AEX that Infuse might have been practicing. So tignan natin, because that'll actually be interesting if that does transition into an unorthodox position for either the Zac or the Gragas that we don't normally see them in.
Ito yung team na mahilig mag-cheese Acclaim Empire. Siguro ganun din yung paniniwala nila sa cheese ng kabilang team. Hence the ban on the Fiora and the Fizz, ladies and gents. Fizz could go in the mid lane. Fizz has nice win rates as well in the Korean servers here. Pero yun nga pala, nakakalimutan ko, may Vayne pa nga pala si Gen V. Mga kaibigan, so tingnan natin kung anong ibibigay nito para sa Zac ng Infuse Esports. And there we go. No cheese yet, as we're gonna be seeing the Tam Catch in the support position, and Velcos to go for the mid lane in the hands of Calculated. Ano kayang itatapat ngayon dito ni Awaken?
Yeah, you know what? Looking at the composition, so wow, actually is Zed.
Of course!
Look at all the damage coming in from AEX, but looks like that is going to be the Vladimir instead, being locked in Sayang. That would have been explosive, but yeah, actually like the Vladimir much more than the Zed.
Yes, of course, mas consistent naman.
Yes, definitely.
Kasi if you deathmark someone that's just very dangerous, you know, you're gonna Tam Catch. So that's automatically your ultimate getting countered by a simple, non-ultimate skill.
There you go.
Support ka mismo,
just one simple devour. Deter them. But yeah, I really like how Infuse Esports, they're shaking it up a bit with the composition that they have right now. Finally, I'm seeing Pandar's on a different champion that isn't Galio, because siguro, like if you're gonna look at Pandar's champ pool use right now throughout the PDS, it's like there's so many Galio use, so it's very refreshing to see something different from him. And yeah, I mean, this will definitely be a test. I like Infuse's drafting a little bit more than their previous game, but whether or not this will translate to them performing better, it's something we'll have to see, because like I mentioned, ang naging issue ng Infuse Esports is that they like to use these different compositions which they aren't able to use to max efficiency, and that earlier game was a very telling sign of that happening. So hopefully they'll be able to come back in this next game.
Well, one thing I'd say is that the big source of their damage would arrive mula sa mid lane nila at sa ADC nila heavily, so they cannot afford to lose this mid lane. Calculated, walang problema. Liar would be relying on the flash-in ADC ni Gen V siguro dito. I don't know, but, you know, by the books, it's actually the Caitlyn which counters the Vayne. But alam naman natin yung champion pool nga dito ni Gen V. If there's one thing I'd give to Gen V, despite me being very harsh on him, you know, with the flashes, is that he can farm consistently. There's that. He can farm consistently. Like, just deliver Gen V in the late game and you're set with a good ADC.
Yes, believe.
A former champion, no? You know, a former champion ADC. Do take note, we remember that Tristana, you know, that iconic game against IPP.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, tingnan natin if AEX will still have that same bravado that they had despite the changes that they've made to that roster. Kung maging consistent ba to? Because so far, it seems that despite losing Calculated, despite losing Endless Ace, medyo okay ang naging ano. Medyo ang naging okay. So, we'll just have to see in the next game to come.
Yes, of course. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is an Infernal Drake ready in the Summoner's Reap for the Game 2 of the first match here in the second day of the second week of the Pro Gaming Series 2017 Summer Split, brought to you by Bacchus Energy Drink. Infuse Esports versus Acclaim Empire X.
Nako. And now that we have seen Infernal Drake ang magiging first dragon of the game, that's actually going to be a very juicy dragon no matter where you look at it for both sides. Kasi, like I mentioned, AEX, they have so much damage coming in from the Kha'Zix, coming in from the Vladimir, lalo yung Vayne kapag late game, that's gonna be very, very painful.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah, and then for the other side naman, syempre, if the Infuse Esports naman gets the Infernal Drake, again, Vel'Koz and Caitlyn, they're dealing as much damage they can from the backline. It will actually make things a little bit more faster kasi the problem is, if you don't want these engages 5v5s to last too long for Infuse because I mean, even though they have a fairly tanky front line in the form of Pandars, in the form of Zac, and they have that extra precaution from that Tompkins, pero they could only soak up so much damage. And it's up to Infuse. Like, if they want to make sure that that meat wall that they have in the front line would be sufficient, then, again, this is one of those instances where they have to really get things going as far as the early game. To really scale.
Usapang early game, usapang pagpasok ng mid game, it falls heavily on Calculated. That life form disintegration ratio, at least melt, at least siguro Vanguard dito. Or, you know, the luckiest part would be catching Genvi there, right? But of course, that's about to do disrupting XDXP. Makikita nyo rin sa itemizations natin sa mga summoners na kung baka man nahuhuli kayo is that yun nga, napag-iwanan na ang Doran's Blade po dito mga kaibigan because Doran's shield is overwhelmingly strong right now. You know, ever since that update that tinanggal nga yung yung damage reduction, dinagdagan naman ng added damage to minions plus regenerations pa, and regeneration refund every time you get damage here. So, yep. Plus, meron ka pang pots, di ba? Mas mura pa sa sa Doran's Blade, ladies and gents.
And actually good on AEX for denying XDXP. He's still at level 1 right now, so that does grant them a little bit of a delay sa magiging rotations niya in comparison to Thompson right here. But yeah, that's still, then again, that's a Zac. Because if you're going to think of a Zac, he still has that sustain because of the passive. He actually still clears very well. So I don't think it really hurts XDXP as much in comparison to if he were on a different champion.
And actually, with the mid-season update sa kanya, pinaganda yung numbers niya. Pati yung unstable matter niya. Ayan, siguro medyo binago lang ng konti elastic slingshot, pero sama mo yung Q, yung kanyang ult. Overall, Zac is definitely a hot pick right now as the meta instructs.
Oh, pero what's interesting is that was an interesting devour from Sachi. I don't think that hook was, I'm not sure because I really didn't spot if that hook was actually going to reach the max range to connect onto Lyre. So that being said, that devour actually kind of medyo naging deficiency siya for Lyre because he actually missed about a CS or two as a result.
Yes, and ramdam mo kila Lyre dito, taas ng pressure na ibibigay ni Vanguard. But of course, this is a Vayne and it really takes time for this champion to ramp up sa game natin. It falls heavily once again mula kay Tams. Would you know na hindi early game, you know, ang moment ng isang Kha'Zix to shine. We might be expecting another slow game. Interestingly, yung pacing ng game 1 natin hindi ganun kabilis kanina.
Actually, yeah.
Pero ito kung dito sa game 2, there's definitely a heavy call for Infuse Esports to be more active in the place, especially with the kits na meron sila pagpasok ng level 6. Ang taas ng power spike na available para sa team nila.
Ooh, Tamsu actually not able to get that tall onto XDXP right there. Wait, was he though? Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, here comes Tamsu though. Will actually go for a gank.
Yes, knowing na wala sa right side jungle dito si XDXP might be actually interpolating na nasa Krugs si Zac. You know, he has that sheer confidence to really lean more on the blue side jungle. Ganda ng basa ng Tamsu talaga.
Yeah, and that's actually great information for AEX right now. They know where potentially XD-XP gives them a little bit more prediction power. And yeah, looking at this right now, Gen V and Vanguard making sure they're balancing out this lane because they know that XD-XP might be lingering towards that bot side. Kaya medyo ingat-ingat ng onte. Unlike kanina, medyo nakapush talaga.
Definitely. So, the minion count here, actually, may sizable lead dito. Ang Infuse Esports is just that there's really high pressure that can come in from Vanguard. You really cannot rely or say na pwede kayong mag-resibo as long as that death sentence is off cooldown. So we're now reaching the level 4 mark. Okay, one skill is gone here for Vanguard. Allowed Liar to take some harass. Hindi tinapakan ni Vanguard dito yung trap. So that's one. Stands for the mid lane. It's a double Doran's ring. Para kay Calculated.
I really like the confidence in Liar right now. He's actually getting a decent amount of poke on both Gen V and Vanguard. And he very well should because just the range in itself, he definitely outranges.
Yeah.
Caitlyn versus a Vayne early on. You know, Caitlyn definitely has a lot of harass power on that Vayne thus far. So, you know, basically this is... I feel like this is a good thing for AEX in a way. Sure, it kind of looks like they're at the lower end of the spectrum, but technically this is what they should be doing, right? They should just kind of be taking it easy.
Yes.
Because they know for a fact that later on, that's where they're really going to get things going on. So it's very... This is... I feel like ito talaga yung mark ng you'll know a team is actually pretty good if they don't need to rely on their early game. Kasi, di ba yung mga ibang games, they really like the action, but oh no!
Okay, there's the flash in. Tumble out and flash as well mula kay Gen V. At the very least, they trade flash. ADC for mid.
And still though, good for Calculated. It might not have been mission accomplished, although that's good presence. He did lose a flash though, but in exchange, he did force a flash from Gen V in exchange.
Yeah, and yung katapat niya si Vladimir, it's not a hero that necessarily capitalizes yung kawalan ng flash nung katapat niya. So actually, it's very intuitive. Nice rotation coming in from Calculated to go for the bot lane once level 6. Kasi yun talaga yung dapat gawin. Kung sino man ang merong level 6, a play has to be done here for Infuse Esports if ever gusto nila sulitin to. Because right now, XD-XP is being pressured in his own jungle. You know, laging may idea ang AEX. Nasaan yung Zac?
And you know what's funny here is that if you're gonna look at XD-XP's champion right now, si Zac, he actually has all the potential in the world to perform and really exert some level of pressure in terms of early ganking. That being said, because AEX knows that that's the case, that since Infuse is running a Zac, gaya nga nang sabi ko kanina, XP is known for these power farm champions earlier on. Tapos, tsaka siya hataw pag medyo sufficient na yung gold, sufficient na yung itemization niya. So, in exchange, they're kind of turning the tides here, denying like early aggression from XD-XP by continuously checking out where his location is at.
Yeah, and I'm just really surprised no, sa pating ni XD-XP dito. Nanggaling siya sa river side. One good initiative would be to take the side brush really. If he wants to gank that bot lane, now that is time wasted here. And that would allow Tamsu to go for his blue. And there you go. There's actually a ping. May assumption din dito mismo si XD-XP na nasa blue side nga si Tamsu. Walang rotation na gagawin si Pandars. You know, to go for this blue buff. So it's a win. It's a mini win here for Tamsu.
And again, it ultimately goes at the back of my mind. I'm asking myself once again, where is the proactivity and vision coming from Infuse Esports? They know that Tamsu is one of those junglers which really likes to invade and deny from the enemy jungler. And that's definitely gonna hinder XD-XP from maximizing this Zac right here. If anything, kaya nga nasabi ko, Zac, there's so much potential with there's so much ganking potential, but if you're gonna be denied just like that by what Tamsu's doing right now, then it's gonna kind of slow him down a bit.
Tamsu would just take things away from you, but this is 2 members sent to take a blue buff. So yeah, okay, in a sense, yep, Calculated now has the blue buff. Can they make a play here in the bot lane? They're aiming so.
It's gonna be a 4-man gank though. Not caught up by that ward yet.
They have an idea for the ward. Calculated showed himself. There's gonna be the dark passage, ladies and gents. And of course, the plasma fish. Lahat ng skills ni Calculated na hindi na-connect. The ultimate is still available. Final R is there. That sentence has been used. Not connected. Calculated. Have a play in the back line. Devour mula sa Sanchi dito. Flashes si Vanguard. Unflash the box. Liar, where's the free hit? As you can see, the life of disintegration ray goes the first blood as Gen V is gone. He's an heroic entrance as Canon is here to join this fight. It's still Infuse Esports. Despite lacking the numbers, AEX would fall back 1-for-1 still. Jungler for ADC.
Oh man, grabe. Hataw. Finally, Infuse Esports. Ito yung iniintay ko sa kanila nung games backed by yung proactivity in getting these gangs on and trying to make proactive plays within the first few minutes of the game. But there we go, though. Tamsu actually managing to get a kill off Calculated.
Yes, and that's classic Tamsu.
There you go. And it's funny, Calculated actually should have kind of
anticipated,
have that sense because they were teammates before. He knows how Tamsu plays.
Yes, man. I mean, it's a Kha'Zix, you know, as long as he has that leap available, and especially kung isolated target ka, especially kung Belcos pusit ka, talagang hihiwa-hiwain ka niyan ni Tamsu. That's 1-2, and that's big kill given onto Tamsu. 1-0-1. Definitely gonna be getting that Warrior Enchantment on his jungle item on his next pack.
Oh man, but despite that though, 1 and 2, pero if you're gonna look at the goal difference, I was actually expecting AEX to kind of take a little bit of a lead, but it's still actually on Infused Esports' court. But still, that being said, these are just small variables. It's still very much too early to tell how this game will sway. I feel like once something very significant happens, that's where we could kind of figure out, because if something goes very significant for Infused Esports' side, then they're playing to their win conditions. Like you mentioned, early mid-game, it's definitely on them. Pero if it sways earlier on in favor of AEX, then that's almost an abnormality, because that's actually not necessarily a phase where you'd expect AEX to just really pop off this hit. Although they do have those ways of balancing that out with having that Vladimir and Kha'Zix. Pero kung hinayaan mo mag-snowball early on ng AEX, you're just allowing Gen V to reach his power spikes all the more faster.
And that's what Liar is doing actually. He's gonna make sure that from this point forward, hindi ako mahabol sa CS ngayon dito ni Gen V, prioritizing and picking up that static shift. Actually, yung nag-offset dito ng lead ng AEX, but hold on, there's the
let's go and check out what happened here. So, very, very crazy clutch that we have here. And the numbers were actually in favor of Acclaimed Empire X. So, here we go. Calculated actually gets a great ultimate onto the members of Acclaimed Empire X, but still the kill. Cannon actually managing to get off XD. That's a tanky Zac, if you come to think of it. So, still though, you know, very, very balanced right there.
The problem is that kinulang sa mana si Liar doon. Had it been meron siyang mana, konting pitik na lang, ano sana yun, ace in the hole on Cannon. But considering again, that fight, well, ayun nga, yung yung lead we were expecting for that fight, lalo pa nung nahuli ni Tamsu, si Calculated kaninang nag-iisa, yung lead dito ay na-offset ni Liar in terms of the CS count. Kasi kanina pa rin sinushove nila Sachi, di ba? Sila sila Gen V dito tsaka sila Vanguard. And that fight, isang malaking factor kung bakit nagkaroon din ng lead doon yung Infuse Esports Ace. Naunang nakapunta doon yung membro ng Infuse, you know?
Definitely. So, yeah, tingnan natin. Pero, you know, one thing that's interesting right now is, as me and Amplifier were kind of talking about earlier, one of the champions that we would have loved to see Calculated use is a very heavy, high mechanical carry champion, which could be a little bit more slippery. Pero, I mean, okay, we did get that carry potential in terms of damage output from the Belcos, but what I'm kind of not as happy about is the lack of mobility. I was expecting something, a high damage, high mobility champion. That would have been really good for Calculated, I feel. But because Calculated is running a Vel'Koz, again, there's so much trust that he has to put on the members, on the other members of Infused Esports to really make sure that he pops off in this game.
And malay natin, ayaw ni Calculated dun sa adjustments. Actually, di pala adjustment, nerf na ginawa kay Ari.
There you go.
You know, di ba?
Tama.
I was considering kanina pa, ba't di Ari, di ba? Maybe yung paglagay ng damage sa charm hindi talaga ganun kaganda. Though Ari's still a god tier, god tier champion. And of course, 1-2 tayo, ladies and gents. Still, the gold level here is very close from these two teams. If there's one thing that can offset a team towards the other, it's gonna be the Infernal Drake taken here by Infused Esports.
And good on them for actually taking that Infernal Drake, because having that extra damage amplification, it actually allows them to keep up to par with the damage output that AEX has. Sure, AEX still generally has a lot more damage coming out from, again, Kha'Zix, Vladimir, Vayne, but at least by having that Infernal Drake, you kind of balance that out by kahit hindi kayo as heavy on the damage because of having much more tanky-oriented champions, Pandars, like Dragastack and Duncan. Still, very good on them.
That classy recall animation.
Oh man, I know, right?
Of the Galio. ng legendary skin ni Galio, mapapabili ka talaga.
That was a great
update, Portal. Pero para siya rin PFK lane. Maybe a fight here. In the main lane, XD, XP, dashing up his passive Yes, he will. No kill yet for AEX here, but look at that. That's gonna be the ultimate of the Gragas disposing Vanguard. Walks back. That sentence too far now as Vanguard will be that sentencing under turret hit. He's gonna go down. First casualty of this game. Look at that. Just with Gen B going solo. Chases on mula kay Sachi. But of course, the Reef Herald is cracked. Gonna be destroying the mid lane after turret, and in the front line, you should be seeing Tamsu. He leads the fray here for AEX. This is still a 1-for-1, but Liar and Sachi has to go back. Mid lane inner turret, you know, to be destroyed or to be damaged here by AEX. Still Awaken may want to continue this. Let's see here. Gen B is there, the ADC to deal damage. No minion though, and I think that settles it.
Man, I love that play that Sachi made. You know, really getting Vanguard, you know, overextending into the turret.
Devour, man.
That really spelled death for him. But that being said, that was actually very interestingly played for AX as well, because by taking down XDXP, it actually splits Infuse Esports' decision making when they had to think on the spot. Do we prioritize trying to fend off the Rift Herald, or do we try to protect XDXP in that case? So let's go ahead and check out what happened here. Garena actually gets a great knockup here. So yun yung point na namatay si Vanguard because he was actually taking so much courage damage. So Infuse Esports trying to make things happen, but look at that great flash coming in. We can easily decimate Calculated right there in that flash right there. So again, if you're gonna look at it overall as far as rewards rate, definitely still on AEX.
And for the whole fight, sulit na sulit yung Devour ni Sachi. Dalawang best niya naligtas si Liar, you know, from almost getting killed. First initiate ni Vanguard, next would be the chase of Tamsu. But still, this is very weird because this should be Infused early game. Okay?
Definitely.
Sa malaki nagpahirap sa kanila is definitely it is on Tamsu. Getting that Rift Herald, you know, cracking that Rift Herald mismo dun sa mid lane. And as you mentioned, the dilemma nga. Rift Herald ba or kalabanin mo yung mismong AEX? Calculated is once again hacked by Tamsu.
This is not exactly good for that. Again, gaya ng sabi ko, this is the problem that I have with Calculated running a champion like Vel'Koz, right? Where, like, high damage, but it leaves him so susceptible because of that lack of mobility. And Tamsu just gonna capitalize on that over and over again.
Let's see here. XDXP, do take note, walang ultimate si XDXP dito. Sachi would join this fight, puts in the lobster stacks onto Vanguard. Tingnan natin, gonna be delivering. Okay, Liar here, he's gonna be enraged. Tumira ng isa sa minion in the front line. XDXP, Vanguard will go down. And tingnan natin kung maitadala pa dito si Tamsu. Will this be the shutdown? No stacks there, AC the hole gets blocked by Gen B. Support of AEX taken in by Infuse.
Oh man, will this transition into a turret? Though bot lane turret is down, so they can't really do as much anymore. No dragon for them available. Still, that's a small consolation.
Yep.
But then again, still, again, these, I guess in a way, Infuse Esports, if they could keep that up, then finally, I could honestly say that we're seeing some kind of yung pagiging proactive that's actually starting to pay off in comparison to their previous games. Again, I keep on going back to the history of their games, but with very good reason, because like I mentioned, when you're a new team, you really want to try to learn from the mistakes of your previous games. And until such time, you actually exhibit the ability to correct those mistakes and proactively just you have to make it reflect in game.
Yeah.
So yan ang talagang inaantay ko, and tinitingnan ko talaga sa Infuse Esports dito sa game na to.
And kailangan lang ingatan talaga ni Calculated.
Yeah, there
Kasi
you go.
so far, ganda ng pacing ni Liar dito. May assurance pa ng Devour mismo ni Sachi. Liar is only a few core items away. Actually, ano na nga lang, pickaxe na nga lang.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be building Infinity Edge, you know? So, that's lots of damage na ang malaking tanong ay hindi ata prepared si Canon to tank. You know?
Exactly,
So, that's one big spike na pwedeng asahan dito ng Infuse Esports. The big question, can they make this push? Is very risky. A miraculous death sentence here by Vanguard. Mag-connect lang yun kay Liar, even though Vanguard would follow up. I think it's still dangerous, pero ang ginagawa yata dito ng Infuse is to gather up a choke point here para si Calculated ay makapaglagay ng magandang Lifeform Disintegration Ray.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I like that you brought that up. Kasi kung titingnan mo nga naman, if they're gonna fight in a very wide open space, then it's just gonna allow AEX a lot of room to roam around. Unlike if you're fighting in a very good choke point, ang laking bagay na you have that Gragas and Zac fighting in those type of terrain, because it allows them a lot more, not space, where because of the narrowness, it grants them much more opportunity to really maximize the innate skills that they have for those champions.
And predict. Kung sa sidestep, that's one, you know. Take note, it's not just the Lifeform Disintegration Ray. The linear skills here of Infuse Esports are really painful. You know, you got the Peacemaker as well, mula kay Caitlyn.
Actually,
Malaking ano nga lang dito malaking problema lang talaga, hindi na uso kasi yung Runoans talaga kay Caitlyn Pero had it been pwede yung Runoans kay Caitlyn ngayon, siguro mas malaking problema to para sa AEX, given the lead na meron ngayon. Slight lang, sila yan.
Definitely. Nako, this is Mountain Drake. This is actually, in my opinion, a Drake that Infused Esports shouldn't give something a fight, but looks like will we be seeing a fight? Though?
Yeah, take note though that is a choke point. Kasama yung traps ni Caitlyn, this is surely the outer middle turret going down in the hands of Infused Esports.
I love the positioning of those traps from Lyra right there, and as a result, they are able to take a third. Pero yeah, like I've been saying, medyo, in my opinion, dapat hindi ibigay ito ng Infused Esports sa Acclaim Empire X because, like I mentioned, if you're gonna look at
Mountain
champions,
Drake.
yeah, because again, the damage from Tamsu and Genvi layer that when pushing objectives, that's gonna be very scary, and it's gonna make them all the more potent. Kasi isipin mo, they already have a lot of damage as a team. Imagine giving them the Mountain Drake, making them all the more painful, not just at champions, pero even sa objective.
Yeah, if you're gonna talk about the word siege, it is on Infused. It is on Infused kasi lagyan mo lang ng trap yung isang butas na pwedeng panggalingan ng Acclaim Empire X habang yung isa naman babantayan ni Calculated. You know, it would be a walking bark for Infused Esports to push turrets with the help of this Mountain Drake. Tingnan natin.
Nako.
Oo, medyo
makakita tayo fight though.
Yeah. You take note, both of these two top laners has their teleport available, but Pandars has cannon in check. You have him shove in the top lane. Oras na para maging aggressive yung dalawang top laner. Meanwhile, we are here in the Mountain Drake pit. Here we go as AEX will take on the Mountain Drake. Hema playing in the back line as the Winger will just go all in onto Liar. Tamsu with a step. Flash in with the blades. And of course, here, another Q. After killing Liar, gonna go for Sachi. There's the classic BM. He was actually punished by the jungler that game 1, but still a win here for AEX. It's a 2-4-1. Calculated in the bounce spot. That sentence. Fish in the water as Vanguard has taken. You can see as well yung ultimate dito ni Cannon. Ngayon pa lamang nakarating sa laban na to. Calculated would be walking away. Kulang sa gap flow, syempre, si Cannon dito as Pandars would be his main tank. In the backline, there is Awaken. The Crimson Rush not enough, but the Transfusion should be the only one left here. It's gonna be Pandars. 4v1. At ang malaking tanong dito ay kung gaano siya katagal. That is 3 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Double kill here for Awaken. AEX steps up 8-4 onto our scoreboard.
Oh man, this is very, very tricky for AEX. Like I mentioned, this is something that Infused doesn't want to happen to them because, like I mentioned, early game, it's kind of on them in the sense. But like I mentioned, they don't want to give AEX that reason, that opportunity to pop off in this game. Because of that clash, it actually gives them, although the consolation that they have is at least they wasn't as impactful for the Vayne. Pero let's go ahead and check out what happened here. Ito yung kasing problema eh. Without Pandars in that clash right there, it leaves Liar all the more vulnerable. Sachi can only do so much to hold back that front line. So without that extra protection from Zac, because Zac in itself was already busy with Vanguard and
that's the
Genji.
thing, yes.
So at least they didn't get the consolation of Calculated gets the kill, but in the bigger scheme of things, what's one kill against all those casualties onto Infused Esports?
Si XDXP or si Pandars. I would say XDXP for that case. Kailangan protektahan talaga si Liar dito. Huwag nilang hayaan na makuha ni Tamsu si Liar kasi a lot of the defenses of Infused Esports can be bypassed here by Tamsu and Awaken.
Kasi there's two things Infused Esports has to look through when they go into these clashes. Number one, basically, Pandars and Zac kind of need to divide. In a way, if they couldn't handle them in one single fell sweep, ang ideal situation there is that one champion needs to keep Genvi, basically Genvi busy from getting these kills off. Second, of course, is you need another champion to make sure Liar is kept safe. So there's so many things that you need to keep into consideration with AEX. And yung tricky part mo dito is because AEX has that Galio, it's easily disrupted by scenarios such as the hero's entrance, and then Vanguard could actually get really creative with the Thresh at the same time. So there's so many things that Infused needs to take into account of, and again, they really, really need to be a complete team if they want to make this work.
Adaptive Helm completed for both of the top laners here. As you mentioned, ayun nga, kailangan pagbantayan dito ng Infused Esports talaga yung config nila when it comes to team fight. Kasi kaya naman eh. They got an Infernal Drake, okay, in the ranks. There's another Infernal Drake actually spawning on the Reef. I would really recommend to just fight as a team. Kahit sabihin natin na merong heroes entrance si Canon dito, as long as you keep AEX at bay, hindi ganun kadali. Kasi para lang naman makapag heroes entrance si Canon dito, kailangan may talon. Wala kay Tamsu. But if you actually manage to stop Tamsu before that happens, then, you know, you cancel a lot of element in AEX play. Right now, what's so good about AEX is despite Infuse having the Zac in their ranks, it seems that AEX is the better initiating habits.
And you know what's interesting is that, gaya nga ng sabi ko, there's a reason that AEX gave away that Zac. And one of the... Oh, no, though. Let's see what happens here, though.
Okay, that's one of the Tangas members dito. Oh, that's gonna be a choke point! Mistakes! Maling mistakes, definitely, by AEX. Fighting on a choke point with a Velcros in the back line. Life for Disintegration Ray. Melted Vanguard.
Oh man, those are the clashes that Infuse Esports needs. Those very tight choke points so that Calculated could easily deal all that damage. But yeah, still, it's still very small victories. Again, they still have a little bit of a climb to go to make sure that they're back on equal ground because AEX still clearly dictating the tempo of this game. If anything, it's more of Infuse being reactive to the proactive plays from AEX. Yes. Again, I'm still waiting for those really successful proactive plays that Infuse initiates themselves.
And they should be. Because they have the kits. Because they have the kits so far. Nasa mid-game pa lamang pumunta kayo mga kaibigan, and between these two teams, I'd still give it to Infuse. Pagdating sa capabilities ng kanilang mid-game, malaking problema dito is masyadong binibisi ni Canon, si Pandars.
Yes,
which is yun din yung case kanina eh. Napansin ko lang na wala rin si Pandars para maging tank para sa team niya back at game 1. Despite Canon having the KDA of perfect 0, you know, na pagpasok ng late game. I think yun yung ano niya, yun yung effect niya. Just keep and disable one crucial member ng Infuse Esports, which is the tank. And for this case, it is Pandars.
Oh man, pero this is the tricky part eh. If you're gonna look at the kill distribution, right? Sure, sabihin natin 0-2-3 si Gen V ngayon. Pero technically, he is a Vayne, so he has that leeway. Ang tricky, ang medyo masakit kasi for Infuse dito is Galio, Kha'Zix, Vladimir, they're doing their job right now to kind of get things going early mid-game so that transitioning into the late game, once Gen V does have the itemization that he needs, parang it's like keeping the skills here. May makakover ng early mid so that we transition to late, but let's see the fight.
Okay, he delivered Tamsu in. Who's focusing Tamsu down? That is the ultimate miss. Landed on to Canon, the Tankiest member here. Ang dami nang nabitawan dito ng Infuse, pero tuloy pa rin ang awit ng buhay ko. Sabi nito ni XDXP as they're going for the chase. They have the numbers advantage. That's another ult misplaced. I think it's time to call it quits for Infuse Esports as Gen V will be doing a sneaky turret distraction here in the mid lane inner.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. But yeah, they did. That's actually very interesting.
It's another fight, ladies and gents. Calculated. Ito sana yung oras na pwede ka sana mag-ult. This is gonna be AEX game. Look at that. That's gonna be Tamsu. But Fly is taking all his free hits. Gen V will join this fight. He will flash in. The classic Gen V as he goes for the clean out. Now on Saji. Without any bar, the thick skin won't be there. Won't be enough to survive. Making survive. Pandar is gonna be the last man standing with Tamsu dealing isolated damage to the backup ni Gen V dito. An ace is pulled off by AEX. They will ignore the Infernal Drake. Will go for the Baron.
Oh man.
Or
maybe mid?
Yeah,
there we go.
So they called for top.
Prepping.
Or yeah, they call for Baron. Yeah.
Taking a while, but yeah.
But they have lots of choices. That's yun yung level ng lamang nila ngayon.
Definitely. Pero again, this only puts Infuse Esports much more behind. And yung problema kasi dito, knowing that AEX, they have that Vayne late game it's just gonna skyrocket into oblivion. It only narrows the window for Infuse to get back into this game. It's kind of like a ticking time bomb once again for Infuse Esports. They're slowly losing their windows of opportunity to get. The problem is they're not supposedly in this phase of the game. They're not supposed to be worrying about getting back to this game. If anything, they should be in the ideal situation. They should be worrying about closing out this game as early on as possible. But because they allowed AEX to get so ahead, again, these are the problems that. Again, it's problems na early game pa lang. They should have made things happening. Pero mid and late game, they find themselves once again in a situation na sila ang nahihirapan.
Not to mention yung laban na yun. They took a fight against AEX with Lifeform Disintegration Ray on cooldown, with Explosive Gas on cooldown, you know, with Lex Bounce on cooldown. crucial mid-game skills all on cooldown. They took a 5v5 fight. That's the problem. The moment na nakarating sila doon sa location ng outer turret, bottom outer turret ng AEX, dapat umatras na sila.
Ayan, so ito medyo yung devastating clash from earlier. So, yeah, it's actually a great AEX. I really like the pressure that they're exerting. Ang problema pa dito, look at this. Liar and Calculated are together. So, there's not as much protection for them. So, yun nga, it's just so easy for AEX to converge onto these two targets, knowing that yung supposed front line na maproprotect ng kanila are actually quite separated out. They're actually cleared out. So, I'm not sure that what direction Infuse Esports was going for. Kasi technically, they're already in that choke point to make things work. The positioning was what really went wrong for them in that clash.
Yeah, and the decision making. You know, considering na talagang lumabang pa talaga sila. That's the thing. And right now, AEX would be cashing in their Baron buff. There was a turret destroyed. I think that is in the bottom lane inner. As you could see, na nandun si Awaken split pushing that bottom lane. As the rest of the members, you could see as well that Cannon, all 3 lanes here, targeted by AEX.
There you go. And yeah, look at AEX with that Baron buff. They're really exerting pressure.
Evo Plague as well, plus the Proto Belt. That's the burst, and that's the late game Vladimir to you.
Oh man, that's so painful. Calculated couldn't even do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't even take Awaken that much of his skills to just the damage that he's exerting is just too much. Overwhelms that Bell cause.
Yeah, ito na yung late game.
And like, the interesting
AEX
thing is that Calculated still has his barrier. Even though he had that barrier up, I don't think it would have mattered.
Okay, so Cannon would be joining despite all they need to focus. This top lane inhibitor turret, Genvi on his final hour. He has no flash to flash in, but it doesn't matter as Founders will be melted. Vanguard gets bursted as well as Liar's taking his free hits XP along with Liar in the back line. Awaken's gonna hammer down towards the ADC after taking the jungle. A shutdown comes in mula kay Liar, but up to no avail as the first make that the second inhibitor taken in by AEX. Can they defend this base? As Calculated is still here. Life of Disintegration Ray is available. Just need to snipe that one, pero hindi na. So there's only one door remaining for Infuse Esports.
Oh no. And yeah, again, because of this, it only increases AEX's resolve, and it only causes many more problems for Infuse Esports. That window for opportunity to get back into this game is pretty much very, there's such very low percentages right now. And again, at this point, these are just the moments wherein you could only bring it back to what Infuse can do to learn from this game. It always comes back to that. It's the same thing that I've been saying during the last game. Infuse Esports, they really need to regroup, figure out what goes wrong for them during this game so far. Because parang, like I mentioned, once you hit the pro scene kasi, dun lumalabas talaga, dun naging evident yung weaknesses nyo as a team, especially if you're fresh. And so, gaya nga ng sinasabi ko continuously, it's a true test na kailangan yung makorek yun. Kasi if not, then, again, it's like a one-trick pony thing na you can only do certain strats so well in the amateur scene. Going into the pro scene doesn't work out as much.
Yeah, and as a team,
there you go.
You have to really consider mistakes as a team kasi these are the best players. You know, no question with that. Definitely the best players. Ang malaking tanong talaga is how they pit against other teams. Kasi ayun ang usapang professional league.
There you go.
These are like challenger tiers, you know. Tambay ng top 100, top 20, top 50, you know, best players sa Pilipinas. And hindi, well, nagmamatter naman siya, you know, yung mechanical ability mo. Pero what really decides heavily here is the way you play as a team. And, you know, the way you counter the enemy team as a team. Ganun lamang. Okay, another death sentence here. But that is the Devour on cooldown. Malaking depensa to. Do take note, itong traps ni KT mismo sa base. But the problem here is that the side lanes are being pushed as well. But the minions, here comes in the backline. Awaken, tama na ang usapan. Garena and Stamsu. 3 members of AEX goes for the backline, but lots of damage comes in from Infuse. Ganon does ignore that. As you can see that the first one to go down is still on Vandars. They still have the damage. Habang naka-devour, namatay dito si Sanji. And that's gonna be Genvi as well going for the backline. No one is facing the ground yet mula sa AEX as they execute this ace in the base perfectly. Gonna be destroying the first Nexus turret down to the second, ladies and gentlemen. Concluding this series 2-0. That's gonna be, the dance-off on the fountain and a victory for Acclaim Empire X.
Dub. For AEX right now, but very well played. 2-0. Wow.
Indeed.
I couldn't help myself. I just needed to.
Like, if you spam that control thing, that's i-cue in mo na lang yung song ni Willie. Anyway, bring down that game. Your thoughts?
I mean, again, at the end of the day, it was just AEX being so much more decisive. They knew what their win. I mean, that's the funny thing kasi. They know their win conditions na supposedly, Infuse Esports kasi, I was expecting them to pop off a little bit more. Pero, because of the mistakes that they made, along with the fact that, again, in all fairness naman to Infuse, they did much more better than their earlier game 1. It's just that, again, it just didn't really translate to resulting to anything, like yung plays na ginagawa nila, it doesn't result to anything decisive that allows them to just like go ahead in this game. Like, really overtake Acclaim Empire X. And look at the KDAs here right now. Ang problema pa dito, Calculated gets picked off so much. And technically, good on AEX because that is what they should be doing. Calculated is the most vulnerable has the most vulnerable champion on that roster. Plus the fact that Infuse Esports wasn't granting that opportunity to protect Calculated as much. It basically became fodder for AEX to just continue to go off into infinity. And 909 for Awaken, grabe yung standing line. Look at the damage. It definitely results. So again, I gotta commend Awaken though. His debut into the PGS, he's performing really well so far. And gaya nga ng sinasabi ko kay Amplifier kanina, it all comes down to which mid laner can school which, and it definitely shows that Awaken has proven his worth as being the new mid laner for Acclaim Empire.
Playing Gragas kanina, playing his mid lane kanina against Calculated. Ngayon, itong Vladimir pa to. I'd give the word consistency then.
There
kay Awaken. Hindi ganoon ka-stellar yung early game niya. It was actually, mula early game hanggang late game, it was pacing of Tamsu. But of course, we know the story of Tamsu already. He's a very, very good jungler, ladies and gents. I actually want to discuss yung mga mistakes talaga dito na Infuse Esports. Kanina dun sa game 1, it was more on execution and pacing. Ngayon, ito decision making to. Taking a fight when your cooldowns are up, accounting kung mananalo nga ba talaga tayo sa laban na to. Kasi, on a perspective of a coach or maybe for someone na sanay na sa mga fights na yun, makikita mo na kapag tatlo sa ultimate nyo ay wala, tapos 5v5 stack, I think it's kind of a given that you'll really lose, especially kung mid-game oriented yung composition nyo. Ang ganda ng composition ng Infuse Esports. I'd give it to that. But, I'd give it as well to AEX. Ganda talaga ng performance, execution nila. Even Gen B, darating yung panahon, hindi na natin pagdududahan si Gen B. You know that? Ayan, okay? Siguro pag nagdagdag siya ng kahit dalawa pang additional champion sa champion pool niya.
One
ladies
day.
And gents, all of that doesn't matter, ladies and gents. Congratulations to Acclaim Empire X. So, meron pa tayong second match. Ladies and gents, medyo mabigat to. The undefeated Team Manila Eagles versus, ang ating champion, running champion, Mineski, League of Legends. Ladies and gentlemen, kami po yung naging shoutcasters for that game. I am Shinbu with one, for an eye, and my partner here is Arctic at your service. We'll be seeing you on the second match. Liar, where's the free hit as you can see that the life of disintegration ray goes the first blood as Jetty is gone. He's an heroic entrance as Cannon is here to join this fight. It's still Infuse Esports despite the INF, the XP, does he have his passive? Yes, he will. No kill yet for AEX here, but then that's gonna be the ultimate of the Gragas disposing Vanguard. Walks back, that sentence still far now as Vanguard will be that sentencing under turn and he's gonna go down. First casualty of this game. Look at that, just with Jen B going solo, chases on mula kay Sachi, but of course, the Reap Herald is cracked. Gonna be destroying the mid lane after turn and in the front line. You should be seeing Tamsu. He needs to pray here for AEX. Here we go as AEX will take it about the Drake. Emma playing the back line as the Wing will just go all in onto Liars. Tamsu with a step flash in with the blades. Of course, here another Q. After killing Liar, gonna go for Sachi. There's the classic PM. He was actually fine. Ladies and gents, Calculated. Ito sana yung oras na pwede sana mag-ult. This is gonna be AEX game. Look at that, it's gonna be Tamsu. But Liar is taking all his 3 hits. Genvi will join this fight. He will flash in the classic Genvi as he goes for the clean out. Now on Sachi. energy. Without energy bar, the thick skin won't be there. Won't be enough to survive. Making survive. Pandar's gonna be the last man standing with Tamsu dealing isolated damage to the back up ni Genpi dito.
Barrier, even though he had that barrier up, I don't think it would have mattered.
Okay, so Cannon would be joining despite all they need to focus. This top lane inhibitor turn and Genpi on his final hour. He has no flash to flash in, but it doesn't matter as Panders will be melted. Thunder gets bursted as well as Liar's taking his XP along with Liar in the back line. Awaken's gonna hammer down towards the ADC after taking the jungle a shutdown. Comes in mula kay Liar, but up to no avail as the first make that the second inhibitor taken in by AEX. Can they defend his base? As Garena comes in the back line. Awaken, tama na ang usapan. Get it out! As Tamsu, 3 members of AEX goes for the back line, but lots of damage comes in from Infuse. Ganon does ignore that. As you can see that the first one go down is still on Pandars. They still have the damage. Habang nakadebar, namatay dito si Sanji. And there's gonna be Genpi as well going for the back line. No one is facing the ground yet mula sa AEX as they execute this ace in the base perfectly. Gonna be destroying the first Nexus turret down to the second, ladies and gentlemen. Concluding this series 2-0. That's gonna be, the dance-off on the fountain and a victory for Acclaim Empire X.
To be top. For AEX right now, but very well played 2-0.